what other things do you really get to do that in the world? Like, what other places do you have a map like that? And it's literally about you. You know what I mean?
And the dope part is you have yours, but then maybe there's something that you feel like you don't understand in yours, or that you don't have a lot of, let's say, earth energy. You can find someone who has that energy and you can learn from them. That's the beauty of astrology, you know? Hey guys, it's your girl Sarah.
And Maya.
And we're charmed and dangerous.
You know, cause we're trendy.
And we dangerous, baby. We dangerous. We especially dangerous when we tell the people about their birth chart.
Yes.
And really anything astrology related, because I feel like in order to live your best life on this planet, you need to understand yourself.
Yes.
You know, everyone really wants to control you into thinking that you're a certain way, and your birth chart really shows you that you can harness any energy to become anything you want.
It's a very powerful tool.
Exactly.
And we love on this channel, and we very much preach to love yourself. Go on this journey of self-growth. And I feel like falling in love with your birth chart is one of the easiest ways that I found, you know, to start falling in love with myself and having more acceptance for who I am and how I can grow.
Exactly. Like self-acceptance and really truly being honest with yourself about who you are, the positive and the negative, it really brings back your power to you. Because it's a different story when people tell you things about yourself that you have not come to terms with yet. But when you have accepted those parts of yourself and other people bring it upon themselves to tell you about that, it holds no weight any longer. Because you've already looked at every part of you and you're working through it. Some parts of yourself you love and accept and you don't feel the need to change. Some parts of yourself you're working towards change. So you won't be as offended when people tell you things about yourself that maybe you don't like, criticize you, whatever it may be. Let's get into it. Okay, so yeah, from the intro you can tell, obviously, I really just wanted to talk about this specific topic because over the previous years, I feel like astrology has become very mainstream.
Yeah.
And it's not just about like, what's your sign? Like people are really figuring out, oh shit, like I have a birth chart. And maybe if they don't know that yet, they know, oh, I have a big three. Like all these like terms have become more popularized throughout the recent years. So I just thought it would be interesting to, you know, talk about birth charts. And more specifically, how to fall in love with your birth chart, because I feel like when you are a certain sign, a lot of people have these stigmas about what different signs mean. And with your birth chart, it can be kind of overwhelming to look at your birth chart as opposed to like, I'm this sign.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like if you slowly start to fall in love with pieces of your birth chart, you can really become obsessed with the study of astrology, which will ultimately lead you into having a better, more fulfilled life. I personally feel that way. You know, like we talked about, like your birth chart really just shows you how you operate in life. Understanding it will help you accept yourself in ways that you really never imagined.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I want to say too, like, learning more about my birth chart has helped me learn so much about myself. But at first, it was really scary. Like looking at the wheel and trying to figure out what the degrees meant and like, where do you even start? You know, like it can really seem like a daunting task.
Yeah.
But for me, when I first started like getting into it, I feel like I started to learn about planets that were similar to my stellium, right? Like for people who don't know, I have a Sagittarius stellium. So I was like, oh, you know, some planets share, or some signs share the same planet, right? So I was like, oh, I'm a Sagittarius stellium. Let me take the time to learn about Pisces.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And so that was like one way that I first started to like separate and try and break up my birth chart, because it is really overwhelming for people. And I don't want people to get discouraged, because it can be beginner friendly just depending on how you approach it at first.
The thing is, everything is beginner friendly.
Yeah.
Everything you study and learn about in life can be beginner friendly because you are going at a slower pace. Therefore, you will focus on the things that are easy for you to comprehend at the beginning stages of you learning about that subject. Astrology, it's the same thing. Start off slow. whatever that may be for you. For Maya, it was that. For you, it could be something else. Totally. You know what I mean? And don't get discouraged when there's something that you don't understand. You know how long it took me to understand which planets fall in which houses for me? You know what I mean? A lot of people still to this day don't understand that, because it's honestly one of the hardest things, but once you get it, it just clicks. You know what I mean? And like that to me was one of the hardest things to understand. And like I said, when I learned how to do that, I really, really felt in touch with my birth chart, and also learning about the different houses. There's 12 houses in astrology. These have to do with different themes in life. Like for example, first house is self. Sixth house is your routine, health, work. 10th house is your career, reputation. Like these are all very different aspects of our lives. And depending on the sign that falls into that house, AKA area of life, you respond to that area in a different way. So it's all about just like figuring out, what am I first interested in? Okay, let me go research that. And then, okay, I kind of feel like I got that. Let me go see what else I'm interested in. There is no rules to it. Really go where your heart takes you. But more specifically in terms of talking about how to fall in love with your chart, I want you guys to understand that like if some things in life come easier to you, like communication or your motivation and drive, then you probably have mastered you know, the energy of your Mercury placement, or in terms of your drive, your Mars placement, because Mercury has to do with communication and Mars has to do with your drive. So you really can understand, okay, I'm pretty good at this. Okay, since I'm good at this, let me focus on this planet. You know what I mean? Yeah. The same goes for the other side of the coin. Like I said, if you want to understand your love language more, check in with your Venus sign. Like I feel like people don't understand what I need when it comes to my relationships, my friendships, my romantic relationships. Okay, go look at your Venus sign. See what your Venus sign needs, and maybe it'll click in your head and be like, you know what? Yeah, that is something that I value. I need to tell my friends and my lovers more about this. This is my love language.
Yeah. And piggybacking off of that, I want to remind people that there are no bad placements, right? There are no like negative signs or areas to be in. Yes, there are signs that can be in detriment and things like that, but those are really just areas for you to grow and to dig deeper. Kind of like Sarah was just saying, like things may become easier to you if you have a sign in a certain area, right? But it may not be that way if it's in detriment. That doesn't mean it's a bad area. Again, it's just a sign for this is where you can grow.
Yeah,
right.
This is where you need to learn. Exactly. This is what you need to maybe focus on more. I have Venus in detriment. My Venus is in Scorpio. Venus being in a sign that's ruled, you know, with the planet of war isn't necessarily the happiest place for Venus. But I love my Scorpio Venus now. Before, I thought it made me too loyal, maybe stupid, because I would get obsessed with things too easily. Now I love that part of myself, because my passion for the people and the things that I love, like I value that part of myself, and I decide what's worth it or who's worth it and who's not, you know. And you could really, really learn a lot about yourself depending on which aspect of your chart you're focusing on.
Yeah.
And I truly believe that like in different years of our lives, obviously we're focusing on different things. But that's for another video.
Yeah.
Which, you know, we don't have time for today.
Right.
That's your perfection years.
Yes, right. That's a whole other thing that we can talk about for another 30 minutes.
Exactly. Go Google it. We'll probably talk about it later.
Yes.
But yeah, I feel like it's funny because everyone has a certain sign that they like probably hated when they were growing up, or you know, and their exes or whatever. Sure. I think every single person has done it, and if you haven't, oh, you're an angel. You deserve an award.
You're lying.
And yeah, I feel like then you figure out that you have a birth chart and realize, oh shit, I have that sign in one of my personal planets. Like, did I hate me all this time? Right. Probably.
Yeah, usually ragging on me.
Usually project when you're feeling that much passion.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I'm gonna tell you something. Now you have the motivation to understand that sign and its archetype, because maybe you just like that energy, like I said, because it reminds you of you, or it reminds you of someone that you grew up with in your family home. Really, it's not about that sign. It's because that sign and its energy reminds you of something, and it's for you to figure out why. And a lot of people, you know, when they're getting into astrology, they think, well, I don't have that sign in my chart. Newsflash, you have every sign in your chart. The housing system, like I said, it falls into every area of your life. So you have every sign at least in one area. You have it in one area of your life.
And so everyone, even if you feel, again, like you're lacking, like, or maybe you're confused, you're like, oh, I don't have this sign, like I hate it. Maybe that's actually saying that you need to honor that sign more and look more to qualities, because you're probably lacking what they have.
Absolutely.
You know, like that can very much be the truth. And I feel like I really fell in love with my birth chart because to me it was very unique in the sense that it gave me like an opportunity or like a blueprint to kind of grow. Like I feel like in the workplace, you know, like you have a manager who gives you like goals to reach, right? In some ways I feel like my birth chart did the same thing for me. Like it showed me where I was strong and maybe where I had weaknesses and how I can harness my power to be my best self.
Literally.
You know, and like what other things do you really get to do that in the world? Like what other places do you have a map like that? And it's literally about you. You know what I mean?
And the dope part is you have yours, but then maybe there's something that you feel like you don't understand in yours, or that you don't have a lot of, let's say, earth energy. You can find someone who has that energy and you can learn from them. That's the beauty of astrology, you know? And like when there's synastry, and if you're a beginner, synastry is essentially, the best way to describe it is the relationship between the merging of two people's charts. That could be romantic, platonic, at work. You plus any one other person, they're synastry. And I feel like synastry really can show you a lot about how that relationship will go. And that doesn't mean that it's doomed just by looking at two birth charts. It can really play out in so many different ways, but it can show you how someone, you know, brings some balance into your life, depending on how your placements interact with each other. Or lack of balance, or how you learn a lot, or maybe it's too easy. We don't grow together because we're too comfortable. It's just, it's such a beautiful thing, and I want people to understand that astrology is more than just, am I compatible with the person that I love? Am I compatible with my ex? Which is so cool, I get it, but there's so much more, you know, that goes into astrology. Self-discovery, career, healing, where you came from, your family dynamic. Family dynamic, friend synastry. Honestly, one of my favorite things that I feel like, again, when I was learning about birth charts, was finding when my friends and I had the same moon sign or same modality of moon sign, and how well we just naturally got along together. And I was like, this is a thing in astrology, you know? And when you meet those people, you feel like a natural instant connection. And you can't tell me that you don't feel that. No. You know? So you guys, you feel it. It's the best. Literally every single one of my friends has an air moon. Every single one. Isn't that freaking crazy? And I'm an air moon. I'm just like, how am I surrounded by all these Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius moons, including my boyfriend? I love it because they understand my emotions, and that means a lot to me. And really, for my final point, what I really want to say is that, you know, your birth chart essentially shows you how each of the 12 energies, aka signs, are displayed in your life. By taking the time to understand every aspect of your birth chart, not only will you have more patience and love for yourself, but you'll be more compassionate to the world and people around you, because this world holds the energy of all 12 signs. So, you know that saying is like, oh, we're all connected. Like, we really are all connected. If you understand those sides as it relates to you, all 12 signs and all 12 houses as it relates to you, imagine the patience you will have for other people when they're more connected to a certain energy. Like, oh, they're really showing up in that 12th house energy. They're really showing up in that Virgo stellium energy. Like, you understand these things. You understand all 12 houses. You understand all 12 signs. So when people are acting in a way that relates to that, you'll have a little bit more patience. It's not personal. Even though your birth chart is personal, the way people act is not personal, because they're working through different chapters of their life that are related to different aspects. of their birth chart. Same for you.
Yeah, 100%. And it really does give you more patience and understanding of yourself and how to work better with others.
Yeah.
You know, it really is to me a roadmap. You know what I mean? Like, what do you use map for? Is to get to point A to point B. Like, that's literally what this can be used for.
Exactly.
And it's amazing because it really is a tool just for you, and you can peep into other people's lives and see how I can treat them better, how I can respect them better as well. Because at the end of the day, we're all trying to live in harmony in this world, you know what I mean? Like, we really are. And in a way, again, birth charts, understanding myself, understanding other people, reminds me that I am connected and we're all working towards one thing at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You know, we all want love, we all want to be accepted and understood. And understanding myself better really helps me understand that better about other people too.
Absolutely, and we're all on a different journey. You know what I mean? I just want to quickly say everyone has a north node placement, and that is literally like your destiny, like what this life, this specific life on earth for you means, like what you're really working towards. And everyone has a different one because it's in a different sign, a different house, and a different degree. But like when you understand that we're all going for something different in life, we'll be less judgmental towards how we're doing it, why we're doing it, and how each of us is prioritizing different things. One person's priorities is all about family, another person's is career, another person's is art, another person's is healing. And when we realize that, we're less judgmental when people aren't leading a different life than us. Be more patient with people when they're choosing to do different things, when they're prioritizing different things. It's all about self-discovery, self-acceptance, which ultimately leads to the acceptance of the world and the people around you. And that's the most peaceful shit I've ever heard. When we all accept ourselves and everyone around us.
Maybe it's just the Libra in us, but we're like, let's be
that's
connected.
nice. That's nice.
Let's have harmony.
Literally.
All right, y'all. Thank you so much for watching this episode on how to fall in love with your birth chart. Comment down below with your thoughts, okay, and how you maybe started to fall in love with your birth chart, or maybe you need some advice on like where you should be looking. Comment down below. We'll give you some advice.
And if you want like a part 2 more in depth, let us know what you want. And we're there for you.
Just let us know.
That's what we're here to do.
We're gonna link our socials somewhere around here. We love you so much.
Don't forget to subscribe.
Yes, we'll see you on Thursday.
Yeah.
Bye.